What's up, everyone? This is G, the Hyper Sapien, and I'm live. Need to mute this other device, but just work with me as I'm trying to set up something here. We'll see how we go. I was mucking around with it before I was live, because that's how professional I am. I come on live and it's already all set up. It's working perfectly. Anyway, I thought I'd do another hobby session, paint some of these orcs up that I need to get done. But I do have another camera set up, but we'll see how it goes, because I had a lot of trouble with it and it was annoying me. I don't know, just in this app, it's hard to like zoom in and stuff with the camera. So, like when I do, I don't know, like on my laptop, I have a webcam or whatever that I'm using now. I can zoom in and stuff with that. But yeah, just this app, it was difficult to work out. Anyway, I'm just going to share this Hyper G on the air. Feel me in the air tonight. But yeah, just work with me as I share the link around and try and set up so you can see what I'm doing hobby-wise. Now, I want to try to set up a camera so you can see my ugly face and you can see what I'm doing. But because I have ring lights attached to where my phone's hanging, you're either going to see the ring light in the way of this and all sorts of stuff. But I'm going to try and work it so I can switch back and forth from cameras. So when I do the drop down view of what I'm doing, I can turn off this. I can turn off this camera so you can see what I'm doing. But yeah, need to turn down the bloody sound, because otherwise you'll hear me on the other device. Be smashing that like button, please. Cheers. He's already getting it in early, which I appreciate. So yeah, I've got all these devices happening. I've got one where you can see me, struggling to talk as I'm trying to panic and get everything else up and running. Got another device up there hanging off, ready to look at some models. Got another device that for some reason wasn't turned on. So I need to get this. It looks like it's out of battery, even though I had it on charge and it was definitely working. Maybe Streamlabs drains the battery fast. So I made sure I had some charge on it before I came on. So that's why I wondered why it wasn't turned on. Yeah, because it keeps on turning itself off. Guess I'll just have to do it the old school way, hey? And do it on the computer. But anyway, this device doesn't want to. It's like not too old of a phone. Well, this isn't actually the phone I use. It's like an older phone. But yeah, going from like a new phone to an older phone, man, it's weird. Like just the way it used, it's so sensitive, but also it's way slower than the new phone I have. I guess the processor or whatever's older. So I'm trying to go into apps and stuff, and it's like old dial-up trying to get it to work. Anyway, I guess I won't be able to share it, but even if I share it, you know what it's like. So many people are going to watch it without sharing it around. You know how it is around here. I just thought I'd share it, maybe to get that one extra viewer. But yeah, so I need to get Boss Snickrot finished by the end of April. And I was working on some Orc Boys last time. Wow. But yeah, unfortunately, I was pretty busy this week and just had a lot going on. Wanted to get my painting video out. If you haven't seen it and for some reason you're watching me on live, go check it out. It's about 30 minutes long, but it's how I paint orc skin. And that's the orc I'm working on now, Boss Snickrot. So yeah, if I can get this camera, for some reason, yeah, just the app makes the camera work a little bit more weird and mysterious ways. But I've done the skulls, I've done the pants, I've done the backpack. I do have weapons around here somewhere. One that's attached to a paint pot with some blue tack. So that's his other sword or chopper. So he's already got 2 choppers. And then he's got a spare with a bomb attached to it. And then somewhere I've got the gun as well. Excuse me. But yeah, I've got the gun around here somewhere. I did have it all set up, but then the camera, trying to get the other camera to work, for some reason it fell off at one stage and knocked some stuff over. So yeah, I was meant to go live basically half an hour ago. But yeah, lots of technical, lovely, bits and pieces. Where the hell did I put that gun? Because I was gonna, here it is. It's hiding under a base. Had this war boss base moved in, and the gun's like right under it. Anyway, like always, set up perfectly. It's all going on. Seen how to skin orcs or something like that. Darn Xenos. Xenos with a Z or a Z. Wet palette life. But yeah, I need to get another camera eventually because just I can't zoom in on that camera, so I just have to do it the old-fashioned way and just get the camera, like right up against the mini. So we'll see how we go. I've done a couple of lives now, and you just have to see me act a prat like this. But I wanted to try to get down and dirty with the models, if you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, because I was running out of time. I guess we'll never run out of time until we're dead. But because I wanted to get this live going, I just sort of thought that you can, come along for the ride with me. That do live, they said. Be easy, they said. People probably have like this, set up all good to go. Even though I kind of knew I wanted to go live on the weekend all week, I left it till the last minute, like always. Not even charging, but yeah. All right, we'll give this a go. We'll see how we go, and we'll turn off this camera, and I'll go to the Hyper Sapien camera. Do I even know how to do that? Stop mic camera. All right, that should work out. For some reason, I'm signed into Funkin' Hungry. How's that work? So I need to turn sound on my other device, but I thought I'd just turn it on the computer for a minute while you can try and, because for some reason I kept on getting really bad echo on this other device. Audio, for some reason that. All right, hopefully it doesn't echo. Yeah, see on this other on this other device, and don't know why I'm getting a stupid echo, but I should be able to change it so this one's just full screen. But yeah, I don't know why that was getting that crazy echo and all that crap. So that's kind of annoying. So that's one of the issues I had before. Obviously, I can mute one device, but I was getting got sound now. Yeah, just trying to work it out. Cannot hear you. Yeah. So when I turn on the new device, it has crazy echo and stuff going on. I guess because I'm running, maybe because I've got that turned up. Hey, Roger. But yeah, somehow I can, yeah, solo layout. All right. So we'll try and go from here, but for some reason it's kind of a little bit laggy and stuff on this other device. But yeah, this is like the first time I've guess I've tried to do it with the two cameras going. All right, we'll wet the whistle a little bit. If you hear like gurgling and stuff like that, that's because I'm drinking like Pepsi Max and those bubbles that will pop out of nowhere and give you a fright. So you probably see on the side there, I've got quite a few brushes. See, there's that Pepsi Max gas trying to escape, like I said. Man, the body makes some weird noises when you don't want it to. But it is what it is, hey? All right, so I'm going to try and keep it in focus and keep it in frame, but I do have, just because the camera doesn't want to zoom in, or I'm so noob, I don't know how to do it on this app or this StreamYard. But I'll try my best to paint and not stuff up and keep this in frame for everyone. Yeah, the old royal prawns here to show everyone a good time. I mean, I've got a bit of charge of my third device now. I am going to try and share it just to see if other gits join. But by the time people join, I'll probably be, off. I do plan to stream on my second channel, Funkin' Hungry Tonight, if I can, which is going to be a lot easier because I just have to show my ugly face and talk some, COD shit for a while. But yeah, it's a little bit annoying that like this is lagging slightly. Yeah, I'll need to get better cameras and stuff eventually, but us poor gits with small YouTube channels, we don't have all the money like, I'm not Miniac or whatever. All right, I don't even know what I'm really going to work on. I know I need to get him finished, and might just work on some boys because it's a lot easier. But yeah, as you can see, he's fairly done. But I'm still not that happy with him. If it wants to focus at all. See, if I'm like doing a recording, I can like just touch the device and it goes into focus. But because I've got the device hanging off this, it seems to like there's probably all this stuff in the way that's keeping it out of focus. All these other bits and pieces. Probably doesn't know what to focus on, so I'll try and make some space. Move this wet palette out the way. And because I've just been frantically trying to do models and lives and finish off some videos, I haven't cleared up my hobby space. There's just paints and crap everywhere. But yeah, I've been obviously, if anyone's seen the painting video, he's quite a lot different than he was on that. So I've done the skulls, done the pants. I do want to do like camo patterns and dags, which are like sort of orky glyphs and stuff on him, but just running out of time. Wanted to get him done in April, and just like always, get him done sort of quite quickly. Normally, when I start these challenges, then I just sort of fall back, start getting a bit slack. Like the weapons aren't nice. They've got a bit of weathering and stuff on them, but the metal on the shoes and stuff like that is looking not too bad. Basically, I've done some, normally start with gunmetal grey, work in some silvers and some chrome if I really want them to pop. And put in some like Rhinoxide, like a dark brown in the recesses, and start working in some mid browns. But I do want to do some videos on how I do weathering and stuff, which normally, as I said, I do the silvers, work them, and then I start adding some browns, start with a dark brown, a mid brown, and then I basically build up to an orange. But also I do have a few paints that I do try, or I do enjoy using, like this is a really nice paint, Vallejo Model Wash. It's a rust wash, and it leaves, to me, it's fairly transparent. It is a little bit glossy and stuff as well, so that's why I normally work in some dark browns. I normally work in some mid browns, and then I feel when you put this in with those other colors, it really complements it, and it just helps to have a bit more depth and stuff like that. So I do have some cans here that I did kind of rush a little bit, like a bit of more of a speed paint job, but that's kind of how like the rust is, just in the recesses more, a little bit like on top and stuff. Basically all the recesses I went around and I did what I just mentioned that I did on Snickrop's boots. So you just go around, put it in the recesses. There are a few areas that I kind of built up, done some build up rust and some oil sort of stains and stuff like that. I was kind of trying to sort of speed paint or get these cans done quite quickly, but I did start enjoying it quite a lot. So I really sort of enjoyed, because normally when I do weathering and metals and rust and stuff, it's normally on weapons or small parts of an orc. I ended up choosing, because I wanted to get these done quite quickly, I sort of chose to do rust and just like you can see a bit of gore and stuff if it wants to focus on the weapon. So the weapon's kind of fairly heavy with the rust, and it is a bit shiny because I put on coagulated blood, which is like obviously more of a brown blood. It's a dry one, but it's quite glossy, that paint. But also the red, like the fresh blood, is quite a glossy one. Obviously they put gloss in it, so it reflects light, so it obviously appears like blood. It's always weird to watch yourself on camera though. Like you move it one way and it's sort of going the opposite on camera, kind of. So yeah. But yeah, as I said, I got lost and really started to enjoy doing rust on these, and they're still not finished 100%. I've only done some of that base is peeling a bit. So I've only really done like a dry brush on the base. Like I've done a dark grey over black, and I did a bit of a light grey. Normally I'd spend a bit more time. As I said, these are kind of like a speed paint job. But you can see on some of these panels here and stuff, and you probably can't see, but yeah, it's like the rust is there, but it's quite subtle. And then just to push back the rust so it looks like it's actually a part of the miniature, I did do some more dry brushing of like a light silver over these areas, just so it looks like scratches, little scratches. The dry brushing method's quite good to just make it look like it's scratched metal, but then it sort of embeds the rust and the brown sort of under, so it looks like they're incorporated into it, and there's some nicks and wear and tear on top. But yeah, I need to finish the base. There's some skulls on there that are just dark brown that I need to go over and do some, I have a skull video as well if anyone is watching this that's interested. I'd normally start with like a Rhinox hide or a dark brown, build up to a mid brown. I normally do like a sort of age looking skull color. I think it's like X8, XV88 or something. It's a Citadel color, but you can obviously use like a mix between a brown and a beige. I probably do have them somewhere. But yeah, if you're interested, I have that how to paint skull video, and then I build up to like the beiges, the skull colors. I quite like Morghast Bone from Citadel now. It's a fairly new skull color, and then I normally either do your Shanty or what's the other color, like Screaming Skull, like basically bright skull colors. But yeah, one day I'll probably fill in some of these panels or whatever. Like I did a bit of red on his shoulder. He did have another shoulder pad, I believe, but it popped off. But yeah, just a few spots of color, obviously the cables and stuff, instead of just doing a black, just to add a little bit of interest. And then with my orcs, I do this sort of like plasma glow. It's meant to sort of represent Wa energy. So I normally do that on a lot of the weapons. So obviously, because these were quite plain, has that nice sort of little pop of color just to add a bit of interest. But yeah, I do plan. Basically, I guess that long explanation was a plan to do sort of like some of those weathering videos because they're quite enjoyable to do, and I've done that on this. But because the blades are quite flat surface, I wouldn't really necessarily say I'm struggling with it, but because there's not much detail, I can't sort of fall back on, like I was saying, where you put rust and stuff into the creases and the recesses and stuff, because obviously they're just kind of flat blades. He does have this bit of a curve to his blade, so I am trying to make, like the separation a bit of a step between this, so the top's a little bit more lighter, and then sort of the ridge of the blade is where some of that weathering and some of that grime is building up. And like I've done on Ghazghkull's claws, towards obviously where the blade is, I start putting some like glazing in some dark reds, and eventually I'll put on some actual red blood effect paint. So if I show Ghazghkull's another model that I've been working on and haven't finished, but if I show him, you can kind of see that again, it's all fairly smooth, a little less rust on the blades in some of the recesses, like this rivet here. And then when you start getting into where the actual blade will be touching stuff and ripping stuff apart or whatever, I start putting in some dark browns, some mid browns for the rust. But then I start adding in some corn red or a dark red to start representing like really dry blood or just, like whatever. But yeah, I still need to obviously work on him a lot more. Because I really got into him and enjoyed him. I was reading the Ghazghkull Fracka book, audio book I had. That was when I was meant to be doing the cans. That's why I kind of rushed the cans, because that was my project, and started reading Ghazghkull the book. Really enjoyed it and thought, maybe I'll paint the model while I'm listening to the book about him, the character, because it was a really fun book. Got really stuck into it, but that's quite a few hours work. I did do the face. The face is fairly done. A lot of other bits, like I've got his jaw plate here, which I've been working on. Ooh. But yeah, I've been working on that as well. So lots of little bits to Ghazghkull. Do have his face somewhere. I really need to look after his face, because it's one of those little pieces that I put lots of hours into. So I don't really want it to get wrecked. But because I've been frantically jumping from project to project, he's been pushed aside somewhere. Because I did have them all of the bits of Ghazghkull piled up, and then just went all over the place. Where are you? There's the other shoulder pad that popped off for the killer can. I'm still working on them as well. That's for the crew for the squig buggy. I'll just put some stuff here so you can sort of actually look at stuff while I'm looking about my hobby desk. But yeah, that's the Beast Boss. Obviously, it's not going to focus when I've got other stuff. But doing kind of like a whitish green skin tone on him. Just something a little bit different and cool. And haven't done that much, only a few hours have been put in to him. I'm doing the old, I guess I'll plug it again. If you want to know how I do these sort of alt skin tones, I do have a video that's available now. But this one, I'm just using more brighter skin tones, so brighter greens and brighter human flesh tones. But yeah, I've got the crew for the squig buggy, and I'm working on. They're not going to be that dark, and I am going to work on them more. So I've sort of done, like, even the blues on those ones are quite dark, but I am going to sort of try and do like a denim sort of color. So they're kind of just base coats. I have put some bits and pieces into him. Camera's not picking it up that much, but I've got some of the pink tones in the ears and lips and stuff on them. Oh, I've got some crunchy eggs here. Crunchy Easter eggs. There's another little git. We'll hide him there. He's from another project that I haven't properly finished. The War Boss on War Trike. So, where are you, Gazskull? There's his arm. One of his other arms. Need to really I'm trying to work on my hobby space as I'm trying to paint. As if I can talk, I'm trying to work and upgrade my hobby space as I go along, but also I'm still trying to create content as well and do lives and all that sort of stuff at once. So obviously it's a little bit hectic and stuff at the moment, but hopefully once I get my hobby area sorted, it'll be a lot more smooth, and then I'll just be able to, because obviously I still need to work out how to do all of the live stuff. So I've sat there and watched people do it, and it doesn't seem that hard doing hobby live streams. But, just juggling it all, having a couple of cameras on. So I had to turn off the other camera because otherwise you're just going to see this huge ring light in the way. That is where the other device is attached. And hopefully that just didn't die. Okay, I don't know why this StreamYard seems to really kill the phones. Like kill the. All right, so I'll get myself back up. Ooh, it's just going to be frozen on Gazskull's weapon. But yeah, it just kills these devices really quickly. I guess because the PC, the webcam I'm using is, like it has a power source attached to it. So it, it's not going to die. But yeah, because I've been on other people's live streams and I swear the devices haven't just died after 20 minutes or whatever. I mean, they weren't fully 100% charged, but still annoying, because obviously I'm trying to work this out. I'll probably end up needing to buy another webcam or some sort of camera that I can use to do like the drop-down version. I mean, I know a lot of people that do YouTube obviously need to have a chat with them and see what sort of devices they use. But yeah, now you're stuck with me again. But yeah, I don't know how long I'll be on tonight, especially with all these, you know, all these epic fails. And I don't really know how many people are watching. Obviously, a couple of people have spoke, and I think they might have fallen asleep. All right. So it does say there's a couple of people watching. So even if you're in the background, you're just listening to me waffle on, that's all good. But yeah, I might not be on too long because I was just a few fails. Well, I guess they're not really fails, you know. I'm learning as I go. It's the only way I'm going to be able to do streams if I just learn from all these mistakes I'm making. And yeah, I have no idea where I've chucked Gaz Skull's face. He was attached to like a paint pot or whatever. I mean, one reason I'm looking for him is just because that's obviously a big important part of the model, and I did put stupid amount of hours into his face. Yeah, well, that's it. I just heard I heard the camera I had up there. It just vibrated. That probably means it's dead. And then obviously I saw it still on screen, but it obviously took a while to catch up on stream that it was dead. It froze. It froze before it cut off the camera. Yeah. And working on him as well. Just went to my brother's and put a few hours into him. So that's the Cursed City Ogre. So I will do all of these eventually. So if you do watch the live stream live in the chat, or you watch it back after it's been recorded, let me know what you want me to start working on the live streams. I might work on certain models for the live stream and keep the other models I'm working on just for my spare time. And obviously some videos or some models I'll be doing content for. But yeah, I kind of just wanted something cool to paint. I've done some of the human skin tones on him, some of the browns on his belt and stuff like that. I was trying Pro Acryl, and to me, I didn't really have no negatives against them, but I do feel that Pro Acryl is a little bit overhyped. Like, it is really matte as well, which is kind of good, but I'm kind of used to Vallejo and Citadel and stuff, but they are matte, but they're not just totally matte. They have a bit of, like, you know, just shine or different levels of matte to them. But yeah, pretty good. I was using my brother's paints for this, so when I do him on stream, I'll be using like Bugman's Glow, which is a sort of dark rosy red. I'll be using Cadian Flesh Tone, which is like a mid pinkish peach red-ish human skin tone, and a Kislev, I might use a bit of that, which is more of an orc. Got orcs on the brain. That's more of an elf flesh, so it's like more of a sunny, like a creamy sort of bronzy, I guess, a little bit, just like a sun-kissed sort of human flesh tone. So I'll just be using obviously what I've got, and then I've got found Gazgul's face and the skull. Hopefully Gazgul's face hasn't, because you know you spend all this hours and stuff, and I'm just a bit of a slouch or just messy sometimes because I'm doing content for two different YouTube channels. You know, like when I'm working on stuff, sometimes I don't pack it up nicely. I will just sort of, you know, like leave a bit of a space so I can use the desk to record on. But yeah, it looks like I haven't sort of, because I hate it when you spend all these hours on a model and it gets knocked around and a little bit of paint chips off or whatever. You're not going to be able to see it now, but Van Gazgul's face. If anyone's interested, I can put some on my Facebook and stuff like that, or I can even leave them in the YouTube community tab. But I have been working on the skull as well. So that's the one that goes on Gazgul's back between his engine. But yeah, see, it took so long, and the bloody camera died before I could even find it. But I'm at least happy that I found it. So I need to put that. I'll probably do that now. I need to put that back on. Where is? There it is. So normally I put a bit of blue tack on. Well, that's on there. Normally put a bit of blue tack on like a paint pot just to use as a painting handle. But I can just use it as well as a way to store Gazskull. So this is a paint I don't think I'll be using. One of the 90s Citadel color paint pots. So I'll just put a bit of blue tack on that. Stick on the face of the Prophet of Gork and Mork, and then I can put him to the side and you'll be able to see him. Even if like the desk gets a bit messy, he'll be upright. I'll be able to see which one he's on. Hummy, learn from F-Ups. Fact. Hummy? What do you want about Hammy? Shumi, I guess that is, eh? And humans. No wonder that androids are going to take over. And working on a 18 fig unit of wolves. Whew. Got to have more bolter power to smush those greenskins. Sort of hummus beans. But yeah, I don't know if you use Facebook, do you? So if you do, I'd love to see your 18 fig unit of wolves, even though I'm not so interested in the last part. I reckon that's a bit of propaganda, that is. The monkeys. But yeah, if you do have Facebook, I have a few pages, but basically if you go G the Hyper Sapien, it'll come up with a page and you can go there. It's just a lot of times, funny enough, it is like Friday here. It's normally around about this time, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday. I normally put out into different community pages, what are you working on this weekend? So I normally show what I'm working on, which is just, as I've said, all sorts of crap at the moment. This stream's just going to probably turn into another one when I just sit and talk about all the stuff that I need to do, but I don't get no work done. But yeah, I always love to see other people's models and what people are working on. And the problem is, because I do have some walls that I want to work on, like if I see stuff like that, sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want to build and paint some of them. Yeah, and I'm dedicated and I need to get these orcs done that are just laying around until I get them done, and then I can, throw them to the side somewhere to store them and then work on more projects. But I've mentioned it in the last couple of streams. I've got a unit of cans. I've got a squig buggy that isn't fully done. I've got Gazskull, Boss Necrot, the Beast Boss. I have a unit of boys and their knob and a mega or war boss in mega armor. They're basically the projects that I want to get done until really I start other ones. But just between me and you, I do have the Seraphon Lizard Men coming. That will probably be posted over the weekend because they've got them in stock. They're in the hobby shop that I'm affiliated with, Gap Games. They're in stock, or they're in the building. So I'll be sending them, and I'll probably get them sometimes next week. Hopefully this time next week. And I'm probably going to do an unboxing, what I reckon I'll do is like an unboxing, like a quick look at all of the stuff. And I'll probably do reviews of the models. So I don't know, just unboxings go for a bit too long if I look at all of the models. And I just if you go over the whole box, it is going to be like a half an hour video. But maybe I'll do try and keep it like 10 minutes of me unboxing and just showing you the parts. And then I might do reviews of individual models just because the Slann is really good, that new Slann Mage Priest. I do get the new Saurus Warriors. I get the what else do you get? And then I'll get some of those new Raptors, which have the skinks on them. I'm pretty sure you get 2 units of them. The Slann, 1 unit of Saurus Warriors or Saurus Guard or whatever they're known as. The book and the cards, and obviously not like a nice fancy box for them all to come in. But yeah, I have started hyping up myself for that Slann. because Lizardmen was one of my first proper armies, and yeah, just I did have a Slann, but because they was metal and I was a kid and stuff as well, it just wasn't that nice to work with. I loved the model and stuff, don't get me wrong, even though they're so much better now. Because I don't know, he was like sitting on this little tiny throne, the old Slann and the old Croak and stuff. It was just kind of whack when you look back at it. But yeah, loved them for what they were. Loved my Lizardmen, but this new Slann has started to get me hype. I mean, am hyped for the new Saurus. I wanted new Saurus. You know, when I got back into the hobby a few years ago, I was looking into Seraphon. I ended up going Auric War Clans like the Ironjaws, the Fantasy Orcs. I got into them just because, yeah, all the sculpts, but maybe a couple for the Lizardmen were just the same one from like when I was 16, 17. And they're okay, but they're very like they're all the same pose, they're all the same sort of heads, and just yeah, they needed an update. So I am hyped for the Saurus Warriors, and the Croxagores look really good. I do want to get Croak eventually as well. Croak is a sick model. But yeah, I guess that huge explanation was I'm pretty hyped for the new Slann. I'm trying to work out if you do watch this live or you watch this back, let me know if you do like Lizardmen, or if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. The Slann is basically this frog toad like amphibian creature, even though it's always been a bit weird because the Slann are amphibians and they used to be called Lizardmen. Anyway, we won't get into all that. But shall I do like I'm just trying to work out what color I want for the Slann. The Slann looks a little bit more like a toad, but toads are normally just browns and greenish browns and stuff. It's not going to be that interesting to paint it just, you know, like a really muddy green. So I'm probably going to do it more of a frog color scheme, which is I'm going to do probably more of a sort of bright green. Like more of I'm sort of leaning towards like a tree frog, where they're quite bright greens. I just feel like that would be cooler to do. And I didn't want to kind of do it green because you can get lots of different color frogs and patterns and frogs and stuff, and obviously paint a lot of green skins. So I did kind of want to do another color, but I think just like anyone that sees it can just kind of identify the color scheme quite quickly if I did like a frog color, like a bright greenish frog color, you know, like instantly your brain would just say, oh, that's like a, you know, a frog or whatever. But I guess we'll try and get a bit of painting done. Unfortunately, I'm charging, you know, it's on 30%, but that was, I don't know, it was probably about on that before and only lasted 20 minutes or whatever. So I'll keep on working on it. I'll keep on trying to get these streams to look better and stuff, to be better, more entertaining. But yeah, like I am going to definitely look at snakes, lizards, and toads and stuff before I get and work on my Lizardmen properly. But I am a little bit of a sucker for being a bit of like, you know, following the lore or whatever. So I'll probably end up doing my Saurus Warriors blue. Maybe like my own variation, maybe on how Games Workshop and stuff do it. I know back in the day, the older artwork, they used to be more of a turquoise, a little bit more of a blue that had more green into it. Now they're kind of more a blue that has a lot of white in it, kind of like a bright blue. So, you know, might end up doing them. This isn't the color that I wanted to show, but this sort of color, like a bright blue. So I do have a bright blue spray. So once I've cleaned up all the mold lines and all the imperfections and stuff, it might just be easy to spray them all blue and then work from there, maybe give them a wash and build up some color on top of that. So I do like taking my time with models. Obviously, that's why I've got all these models that have that bad habit of jumping from one to the other a little bit. But that's why I have all these models, because I kind of am fussy and don't want to get stuff like move on to something else, but I don't feel like something's finished until it has the proper treatment. But at least if I have a fairly easy color scheme for the lizard men, I will be able to, smash them out. And then on some of the characters and stuff, maybe do them special sort of colors. I did have, when I had lizard men back in the day, one of my old bloods was orange, and I quite like that. So I might do one of the models, either the leader for the champion for the Saurus Warriors, orange, or maybe I might leave that. They have those new Raptors with the Saurus on them. Forget what they're called, but they have like a unit of them, and I believe they have like a character version where he's a little bit bigger and stauncher. So probably do that character version orange. Now, when I bought that, I did buy a lot of jungle. So I bought some new what is it called, terrain pieces or basin material. So I bought some of these Gamer's Grass 3D sort of laser cut plants. Haven't really used them. I've seen them, but sometimes when you see pictures, you don't know exactly what they're going to be like until you get them and play with them. And because you have to cut them out off the sheet, it kind of looks like cardboard, but I guess it's like laser cut plants. So I guess they cut them and you kind of have to pop them out and build them. But I bought one set of just one kind of plant for that. I am going to do that, see if I enjoy them, and then buy more, because they are sort of, I don't know, about 17, give or take, Australian dollars for the pack. Don't know if it was 20 or 30 plants. So obviously it's a bit pricey. So I thought if I just grab a whole lot and end up not liking them, that's a bit of a waste. So I'll grab one set, one style, and see what it's like and go from there. And then I bought some other bits and pieces and other tufts, and I did get some new contrast paint, like a bright orange, red, yellow, and I did get Croxagore scales, which is kind of like a really dark greenish turquoise. So I got a few of them to try out. I don't use contrast that much, but I thought I may as well grab them for the lizard men, because lizard men have the scales on their backs. Contrast or washes work perfectly, because obviously you base coat them one color, and those scales really take well to a wash or contrast. I'm hoping I can go over them and all that sort of stuff. And like I was saying before, with trying to paint them fairly quickly, I can use some of those contrasts to hopefully help speed stuff up. Like if I want to do my orange Saurus, I just find a lot of the oranges are really bad to cover. Like they're more of a color that you build on top of colors. So say if I wanted to use like a bright orange, really the best way to get a result, I mean, if I had an airbrush or whatever, it'd probably be okay. But when you're using paint brushes, because it's quite a transparent sort of paint, and it's not, I mean, is this a base? No, it's a layer paint. But yeah, it's best to use that like a red and then do orange on top. But hopefully this contrast, from what I've seen, I can do like a Xenophol where it's quite heavy white, like primer on top and the front and stuff. I should be able to put on the orange contrast, and it should, like look pretty good straight away, and then just tinker with it after, just add some other colors to it. But yeah, pretty pumped for them. And if I don't just actually paint some models and stop talking, I probably won't have any of these orcs finished by the time I get those lizard men. So what am I doing? I'm just at that stage where he's really close to being done, but there's just little bits, like little metal bits and stuff I need to do. And there's a paint on the palette. I'll probably just start fresh with it, because I haven't painted most of this week. It's like there's paint on there, but it's kind of fairly dry, and I just hate it when like your wet palette starts looking messy with all these different colors in it. Especially when you haven't painted for a few days, you come back to it and you're like, oh God, it's just messy. All right, I'll disappear for a second so I can go through my secret stash. Yeah, I'm just getting a new piece of paper for the wet palette, put that on, and then by that time I'll probably end the stream. Nice fresh bit of paper, nothing like even though it's not a new project, nothing like a nice fresh bit of paper to start, finish a model. Just, I don't know, it's like a piece of mind. It's just so much nicer, just because some of the colors I've kind of used or finished with. So when you look at it, it just makes the wet palette really messy, having all this stuff. But yeah, I guess because I didn't share the stream around and let people know I'm live, even though they should be getting notifications. Obviously, there's not really many people around. Pretty sure a couple of people are still watching, and obviously I'll just power through. Yeah, just really at that stage where I don't know what direction I go with this model. So I do want to add some. All right, sweet, no worries, man. I do want to add some just like camo sort of designs on him. I do have the Orc Codex, which I put here. I'm kind of basing my basing my color scheme for Boss Snickrot on the artwork a little bit. The artwork is obviously kind of like painted a little bit, like it's actually like artwork, like drawings, not models. Yeah, he has like these little bits and pieces, like he has some checkers on part of his bag. He has some straps around his arm, which the sculpted miniature doesn't even have anyway, but he has like a strap around here with some dags on it. He does have some dags on his pants, and it looks like it's kind of camo, the design on his trousers, but also just the way they paint. It's kind of like painting, like they paint like paint work that you would, like a painting that you would see at a museum type, where it's, yeah. So I'll sort of do this, but I'll obviously have to wing it a bit and do my own stuff. So I might just bring up blue or grey camo and maybe just get sort of like a feel for it. So like blue camo pants. Yeah, see, blue camo's a little bit too bright. So I've done like an Incubi Darkness sort of pants, which are like a really darkish greenish blue. I don't know if it's tactical camo they call it. I guess tactical camo seems to be like the overall name for most of it. Yeah, I guess that's like seems to be the name for like the general name for it. Let's try like grey camo, because I guess I really just need the design more so than the actual colors. I just use whatever colors and grey camo. Yeah, see, and then grey camo is a little bit more, some of them are a little bit more, have some beiges mixed in with the greys and dark, the light greys and the dark greys. Should have done a screen share so we can all like look at it as I'm just looking down at here. Maybe green blue camo. What's that come up with? Yeah, because when you're looking at camo these days, obviously like it shows some images that are kind of military, but obviously because it's a fashion, as a style of fashion as well, they just got all these like, you know, like hot chicks or whatever wearing them. I'm just gonna find camo. I'll say camo designs and just find like a nice pattern. Camo designs. Well, now it's got worse. There's some chick like in swim shorts. The only problem is as well, it's like showing some nice designs and they're kind of like on a flat surface. So it's just trying to incorporate that into a surface because it's on his pants. It's like obviously cylindrical, wherever it's like circular and trying to put like a flat design on it. I guess at the end of the day, most of them are just like squiggly lines and stuff, like lines that overlap with each other. But there is still different versions of it. Like it looks like the snow one. I mean, you can get the digital camo as well, where it's all pixelated. And then some of them are quite rough, like almost look like paint splatters that are all just sort of next to each other. That's, I guess, why I haven't like really finished his pants. Don't really know exactly what camo design I want to go with. What I might do is just kind of like, there's one here that's quite nice, and it's kind of just almost looks like paint splatters, but just quite ununiformed. Because you have these days a lot of the Games Workshop when they do Camo One and like Space Marines, they have that really squared and sharp camo designs, like where they kind of look like little squares and stuff that are all next to each other. Not really the biggest fan of that style. I kind of like the more old school where it's blotches that kind of go against each other. But they do have that one that I mentioned before, which is a little bit more sporadic. You know, like it's not uniformed, I guess, how camo can be. Like military camo is normally uniformed, where this one is quite sporadic and stuff in its design. I think I might go with that one. And I'll just add a couple of different colors, I guess, which are sort of these Incubi Darkness is what I started with. Might add Corvus Black, which is a smoky black. That might be okay. Probably won't do white. That's not really the vibe I'm going with. As a might use Mechanical Standard Grey, which is like a mid to dark grey. And somewhere I've got Dark Reaper. Yeah, thought I'd like chucked it over there with them. So Dark Reaper's kind of like a smoky blue. Yeah. So it's one of those. That's why when I was doing Boss Nickrod, I was going to do the painting video for the whole of him. Probably would have been like an hour long though, because I'm doing skin and I'm doing the rest of him, but I didn't exactly know how I wanted to paint him. I had the artwork in the book, in the codex, that I was sort of going with, but as I said as well, some of the details, and I mean, they don't show the back of him. Only in the artwork, obviously he's facing forward. They don't have multiple angles. So definitely had to wing it. So yeah, I didn't really know exactly the color scheme I wanted, so I had to kind of muck around and experiment. So I couldn't really experiment, play around with colors and do a video about it, like a how to paint, when I don't really know how I want to paint him. Well, this is how you paint Boss Nickrod. Just shrug and just pull out all these different colors and paints, and then paint some, and then I don't really like that, and then like try different variation. All right, might go for like another half an hour and then jump off, just because not many people want tonight. It is a Friday night in Australia. And yeah, as I said, it was kind of a spur of the moment. I didn't really plan it. I didn't share it. And I was mucking around as well with my... How the hell did that paint get all over the place? But didn't share it around and didn't sort of really tell anyone. I just have started to like doing these live streams sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I might do another one tomorrow night. So if you do watch this back and you have any comments, leave comments and I can answer them. But I might jump back in a live stream and hopefully get to speak to you or whatever on it. So I don't know if I'll do one Saturday and Sunday, but I'll probably jump on as well at some stage this weekend, once, maybe 2 more times. So need to get Boss Snickrot finished. And see, I don't know if I'm just like talking technical garbage here. I don't really know if I want to move the camera I'm using here and have that drop down and then use the camera that died before. Either way, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. Well, kinda. And painting and watching. Oh no, not this guy. Yeah, that's it. Hey, run for your lives. Hey, cheers for stopping by, Karen Commissar and Nate's Miniatures. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I've been just talking a whole lot of waffle, really, but I need to get Boss Necrot done because he's my. I won't end up getting the base done because I don't really have the materials I was going to use for his base. So I want to do kind of like a jungle sort of theme for him, even though my orcs are a little bit more industrial. And then for my beast snaggers, they're a little bit more outback desert style. Just in the lore of him, he creeps up on his enemies and goes. He says that he can like move through foliage without making a noise and stuff like that. And it just, I thought it'd be kind of cool. And then I'll probably do my commandos in jungle sort of theme as well. But I'll see how it goes. Definitely won't get that done in a couple of days though. But yeah, get this. If you didn't listen to me just talking cod waffle before, I'm basically trying to do a camo like sort of scheme on his pants, and I was just going through trying to work out what sort of camo I want to do. In the end, there wasn't really much that I liked, so I'm just kind of winging it and just will play around. But I'm going to do like the camo design that looks more like splashed paint instead of uniformed and how they kind of like layer on top of each other. I'm going to do a bit more sporadic, and I feel that at least if I stuff up, it'll kind of look like it's intentional and stuff. So I've got on the palette Corvus Black, Incubi Darkness, Dark Reaper, and Mechanicus Standard Grey. And I did have another camera, but it died. So I tried to set up another camera and it died before I really got to the painting stage. But yeah. Yeah, well, this weekend, or what does it go till Monday or whatever? Because there's a few days of it starts Saturday, right? So obviously time zones and stuff. I'm not sure. Normally they do a timer, like a countdown timer of when it's going to be live. But yeah, they're definitely going to show Old World. I did get someone was swearing to me that it's coming out this year. Seems like they haven't done enough promo for it to be dropped this year. And then with 10th edition, it just kind of feels like, will Old World get the love it deserves? But also I've heard that it's just like going to have some old models. Like they get, I guess, because they've said people can have like their previous armies, they can incorporate it into the new Old World. But it just seems, I don't know, to me, some of those models are fairly outdated now. But Bretonnian has some of their horses and knights look pretty cool, but also some of their stuff is pretty crap and outdated. It will have all the limelight, but that's why Saturday is just for that. And obviously it's going to have heavy like Tyranid or whatever drop, and obviously it's going to show. Well, yeah, I believe they show the box set. Some people have said they're going to like leak the rules, or not leak them, like share the rules, and supposedly they're going to have a battle report or whatever to show what it's like. All sounds pretty good. Old World, I'm kind of keen for, but if they're just going to have like a box set where they're showing, like say the release box set, if it's just going to be models that we've already seen and some of us own, and they're just going to release them with new rules, that's not really going to excite me too much. Or I don't play like Kill Team, Warcry, and stuff like that, but I always like to see the new miniatures. So I know one of the days, the last day, is a Kill Team reveal or whatever. Yeah, well, obviously the NIDS is going to be like Necrom, basically almost all new stuff or possibly all new stuff, which is going to be exciting because I was kind of pumped for Necrom when they came out. Like the new sculpts had me fairly hyped. They look obviously sick. They're dope and stuff. I do have Indomitus that I haven't even built a model from yet. So, but at least if I buy a 10th, I'll have quite a lot of Space Marines. I'll have that Indomitus and I'll have that 10th, put them together and have a pretty big army. Yeah, I'm excited for them as well because I've always liked them. I've never really painted many of them. Like back in the day, there was box games that we had that have like Space Crusade, I believe it was we had, and it just had lots of different models from different races in that one. But yeah, I haven't painted a NID. Well, haven't really painted them at all, but have painted like some Genestealers back in the day. But have always liked the way they look. Have always liked them as an army, so I'll most likely get that box set, and I'll be grabbing those NIDs. And definitely going to be cool. NIDs look so good so far. They definitely needed. Oh, they definitely needed a refresh. Like Necrons, it's good they got a refresh, but I still feel that they wasn't as outdated. But then again, I haven't really sat there and looked at the model. Some of the older models were quite, I guess, the scale as well. They didn't fit in the same sort of scale. It's like Imperial Guard. Some of the old models weren't that bad, but they was like really short and squat like. Where I like how people are saying about scale creep, but I like how, now that the proportions and stuff are all right. Like with the Terminators, they were still quite stubby and a little bit squat. At least like now they have nice full legs where it just the proportions look like real now. They don't sort of have that sort of cartoony sort of vibe to it. But yeah, the NIDs are going to be dope. Going to be awesome to see that. The stuff they've shown so far, that creature with the wings, how it's walking, that looks awesome because it definitely gives that monster with wings but like slowly walking towards its prey vibe, which is really cool. And then it'll just probably just jump up and be like Jurassic Park, with that frilled neck lizard one. Definitely keen for that. I am trying to bring up Warhammer community so I can kind of see but yeah, even game systems I don't really play. I still get hyped when I see new models. Because I do have Kill Team, the first one with the Krieg and the Commandos. I haven't actually built and painted any of my Commandos. I do actually have two units of Commandos because I've got Board and Patrol, hence painting Boss Nickrock, came with Commandos. I have the Commandos versus Krieg, and the Krieg look really dope as well. So it's got the counter now. It's probably been up for 4 hours, I guess. So they've probably done it 24 hours. So we got 20 hours, 17 minutes, and 16 seconds until they showed all the new NIDs and all the new Marines. Yeah, Games Workshop have been doing some cool stuff though. I don't know if you guys are into what is it called, Underworlds, but that new Stormcast versus Zenich, the demons, but they look really cool and unique. How they're just, it looks like they're constantly changing, which is obviously what the lore behind that god is. But you have this dude with all these different arms and no eyes. I think he's got like eyes, but they're coming off his face. They're not just face on. Got some of his details are all warped and stuff. That is kind of cool. I'm not a huge fan of that god. I'm more of a Khorne, even Nurgle fan, but it's always good to see that they're moving into some of those gods that don't get as much love. So what do we got? Mantic are not bad. They need a lot of redesigns. I have a lot of There's a Kings of War stuff and yeah. See, I don't delve that much into other companies. I guess just because I've got plenty of what I need to work on, what I've got as well. But I do always love to see different models from different companies. I mainly just look into RTLW, Cromlech, and stuff like that because obviously I'm mainly into my orcs, and I have lots of other non-Games Workshop stuff when it comes to orcs, which I will be looking at on the channel. I'll be doing just unboxings, but also you'll see me painting and working on them over time. Yeah, well, I guess they've been around so long, the powerhouse, and they've just got the capability and the money to push themselves globally. And obviously, like their models, other companies do great models, but Games Workshop just always seems to level up. Like even with when they bring out a new edition and stuff, obviously they know how to build up hype. They just like that new trailer was badass for that 10th edition. That was if they did a full length film of that and they kept it that sort of pace. Obviously, you're going to have politics and non-action parts, but that was just awesome. Yeah, I've done unboxings and stuff for Cromlech. I've done like Norzilla, Killer Norz. I've just done some little stuff like the Christmas and the Halloween Norz, like which was like a pumpkin, and the Christmas one just had like kind of had a reindeer vibe to it a bit. Like Cromlech, some of the older orcs that had kind of like really long jaws, they look cool, but they're not really. I didn't feel like I could really incorporate them into my army. Maybe for once off, they were good, but some of their new stuff they've done the last few years for October have been really good. I was a little bit slack last year and didn't buy nothing because I've just got so much stuff. But yeah, they did their Beast Snagger range, which was really cool. And then the year before, I believe, was kind of like a lot of pirate stuff. It's like pirate themed stuff, and yeah, they just the printer is like a gun, like. But yeah, Cromlech do some awesome stuff, and they just seem to like the new sort of the way they're doing. Like they kind of have their own style, but they are a little bit more like Games Workshop, a little bit more like WoW, like World of Warcraft orcs. But obviously they kind of like meshed that together and created their own ones. They used to be a lot more cartoony, their grots and their orcs, like bigger, longer jaws, and just now they're a little bit more in line with a lot of the other companies. Like RTLW, I really like. Their orcs are the kind of orcs I like, just perfect facial details where obviously the teeth and stuff are like bigger. And obviously you've got to have the ears and the big brow and stuff like that. But just my kind of stuff. I do kind of like the orcs from Conquest, is it? That game? How they're kind of like tribal orcs and most of them are riding on dinosaurs and stuff. If I ever got into that game, I definitely would go them. I mean, I like my orcs, but I like how they're more tribal, and obviously they've incorporated beasts like dinosaurs and stuff into it. I love that huge T-Rex that an orc or whatever is riding. I believe they have some females in that as well, which is good to see, like female and male orcs. So join us for the reveals. So yeah, it does go till Monday. So Saturday. Oh, they do have some other stuff besides Warhammer 40,000. So you are right. It is definitely going to take the shine because they've got 9 a.m. Warhammer 40,000. So they haven't obviously really said how long these streams or them showing these reveals are going to be. No, it's not necessarily for me because I don't have the room, have plenty of models as is, and it'll kind of be like a hobby in itself where, I'll be putting all this time and effort into that as well. And I have like 2 YouTube channels, multiple communities that those channels are involved in. And I have the hobby side of stuff, but because I do Funkin' Hungry, the food reviews, I sort of communicate and get involved in that side of stuff. So I know a lot of people that I put time into watching their videos and commenting, and just so I do live streams with that as well. And I've jumped onto other people's live streams that do like food related content. So I've just got all that stuff. And then if I throw in 3D printing, just it'd be so hard to juggle it all, really. And obviously, I'm like talking and all that stuff when I'm meant to be painting and stuff as is, and just need to manage my time a little bit better, really. See, I didn't really like the Beast Naggers just because I like the idea of Industrial Mad Max. Yeah, that's fair. I've liked Fantasy Orcs, and I guess they kind of reminded me a little bit like that. They did have different facials, I found as well. They were a little bit more vampire-like in a way, some of their facial expressions. I guess they had like a lot more wrinkles and stuff like that, which I kind of liked. But then the new Orc Boys they released are different than the Orc Boys before. Again, the proportions and stuff, like the heads aren't as big, and it makes them look, because if you shrink a head, like on stuff like the Incredible Hulk, it really brings out like the body and the muscles more, which they kind of did with the new Orc Boys. But yeah, I like how these new Orc Boys, they're different than the Beast Naggers. You can together, you know that they're the kind of like the same race, and they do have similarities, but also there's differences where you can tell that the Beast Naggers are more feral and stuff. But yeah, I can understand if they're not for you. Obviously, they're really, at the end of the day, they're snake bites, but they just made them Beast Naggers so everyone can have the new models. Because otherwise, I mean, it would be awesome if they'd done Orc clans, like actually you say like Orc Boys for every clan, kind of like what they do with Space Marines, how they have the different chapters. It'd be really cool if they'd done that with Orcs, where they'll bring out different sculpts. They're Orc Boys, but they're Bad Moons and Blood Axes. So obviously the Blood Axes, that's why you get the third party companies. The Blood Axes would be more tactical looking, and obviously you've got like the Snake Bites, like I mentioned before, which are basically Beast Snaggers, have that more rugged tribal look to them. So yeah, obviously it's like with the buggies and all that stuff, all the new buggies, they're basically Evil Sons, but again, they done it as a sub clan culture so everyone can use them. Obviously at the end of the day, it's just smart business practice. Games Workshop did it that way, so a goth player or whatever might bring a buggy along for the ride, because otherwise they're just going to cater to the people that are into that one clan. I think I have a few one-page rules prints. I did that. Some beastmen are awesome, yeah. Mummified undead and whatever else there. Oh yeah, well we'll have a look into that or have a chat about that sometime. I usually test my printer just by printing off mini sometimes. Yeah, so I do like my beast snaggers and undead. Like I do have some soul blights and I do have some chaos. I don't have the beastmen side, but I have liked them. If you want to chuck them my way, or if you ever, I know you're into orcs and stuff yourself though, Nate. So, but if you have any orcs, obviously I wouldn't sort of turn my nose up at them. Hey there, beautiful people! It's the Frosty and Fisty McGee himself. Gonna get off. Oh, you didn't have to tell us that. I appreciate you coming on, but you didn't have to say you were going to get off. I guess it's just, what can I say? You watch this channel for a bit and all of a sudden you want to get off. But yeah, cheers for stopping by, Karen Commissar. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you will. Hopefully this isn't our last goodbye. But yeah, cheers for stopping in and I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Lupus has been on, but he's been, like lurking in the back for a while. All this orc talk has put him to sleep. Can't help it. That's it. When you're in the mood, what can you do? Hey, maybe have a cold shower and maybe a shot of whiskey and calm your farm. But yeah, like I was mentioning before, 9 a.m. Saturday is Warhammer 40,000. Noon is Warhammer Underworlds, which is obviously just going to be, they might show that new box set that I mentioned, or it'll probably be, I guess, because these are like previews and normally they build up hype with this Warhammer Fest. Warhammer Underworlds is, I guess, they're going to probably lay out some of the other box sets, whatever they call them, that are coming out. Warcry is awesome, but a lot of them are just humans and they're chaos influenced by different gods and stuff. I do have a box of Warcry. My ones, I think they're called like Spire Tyrants or something. They're basically like Archaean followers. So instead of following a god, they're following Archaean. So they're Chaos Warriors, quite traditional. They do have a Beastman in that set, but they're kind of like your more traditional Chaos. Did I call them Marines before? Chaos Warriors, instead of like a god influenced one. Middle Earth, I really got hyped and into that when I was a kid. I was cleaning up recently, like just today, I was cleaning up and I came across some of the miniatures. They're so small in comparison to all the other systems, even when I got them compared to Warhammer, like the orcs and stuff like that, and even the humans are so tiny. So that's not really, yet again, as I said, I like looking into this stuff. I like seeing other people get hyped and excited for stuff, but the Lord of the Rings strategy game isn't for me. And we got noon on Sunday, Warhammer Age of Sigmar. That's going to be cool to see what they do. You know, I'm kind of fulfilled or happy for now because I've got my Seraphon box on the way. Obviously, all those new lizard men are going to be awesome to get into. And when I was younger and collected lizard men, I couldn't really afford to get all the big beastie, the dinos. So obviously, I'm going to get the box set. Eventually, I'll get some of those big like stegodons and stuff. But yeah, it'll be good to see what they do with Age of Sigmar. What's next? So they're bringing out the Cities of Sigmar. They revealed last time at Adepticon. They showed a few of those new like Cities of Sigmar or Empire for people that are into fantasy. They showed the new human sculpts for them. So I'm hoping and guessing, and I do know some people are hyped for that. Cities of Sigmar, hopefully they flesh out that army a bit, because so far it's been a lot of the old dark elves or elves, dwarves, and humans all just sort of put into the one faction. Well, it'll be good for them to get some new models and just flesh that out a little bit more. At 2 p.m., Warhammer the Horus Heresy and Warhammer the Old World. So that's on a Sunday. That's going to be, I mean, again, Warhammer Horus Heresy, I wouldn't mind getting into. Got so much as is that I don't know people that play it, and I don't know people that are, you know, that into it that I would just drop everything and get into it. But, you know, who doesn't like a bit of beaky on beaky action? But yeah, definitely pumped for the Old World just to see what they do with it. But as I mentioned before, if it's kind of like old stuff reboxed into a new big box set, like say, I don't know, Bretonnians versus something else, and they're just old sculpts, I won't be that, with new rules, I won't be that hyped for it. But what they'll probably do if they did go that direction, because obviously they've been showing some of the old world, but they've been using the old models. If they do go that direction, I guess in like a year or two, they'll probably slowly start bringing out new models. It'd be good to see them do Kislev as a like as an army, or obviously orcs, orcs and goblins. And then on Monday noon, we've just got Kill Team, so that's the schedule. Yeah, definitely. They're both awesome aesthetics, and they they have awesome themes, and it'll be good to get like armies that have been around, but we've never really got like an official book and stuff for them. Because I'm pretty sure they had some Kislev in Dogs of War, the expansion for Warhammer Fantasy. I believe they might have. It's been a while though, and they were just like one box set that you could hire them with points and stuff to put into your army. I am eager to print off some orcs, but I will wait to get some other projects done first. Oh, I didn't do this little feature, so I'll do that for now so people can see, like, as I read it or whatever. Yeah, well, that's like me, man. But with what I've got all these orcs on the table. Need to like move them along, get them out the way, and especially with because I got this. Should tell people all my like shames and secrets. I did get the Slaves to Darkness army box when it came out, and I didn't even like look at the sculpts and stuff. So that had the new demon prints, it had the ogoids, whatever they are, and had the chosen. And I basically grabbed the book out, had to look through the book and stuff, got kind of hyped, but I don't know. Because I run Gorka Morka's workshop, we do monthly challenges, and I try to encourage, obviously, other people get involved, but I try to encourage them, and I try to get involved, you know, I try to get into these as well. So it's a boss challenge for April, and that's why I'm doing Boss Nikrot. And the previous one was a walking like a dread type challenge. We had dreads, and that's why I did the killer cans. And in May, we're gonna do what we did last year, which is May the Squigs be with you. So yeah, we've got that happening again, which I'm pretty excited for, doing another Squig challenge for May. But I'm probably just gonna do the what do they call him, the Loon Boss. Is it a loon boss? But yeah, he's one of the new characters for Gloomspite, and it's just like basically a goblin, and it has his pet squig with him. So I'll probably like just do that as my squig. It's a smaller model, and hopefully I like don't stress myself out and I get it done quicker, or at least because I might do a video for that. I'll do it a pretty easy scheme. I'm still deciding because I kind of really like more natural greens and realistic greens now, but I'm thinking with my Gloomspites, I did have this idea of doing kind of like really pale, khaki sort of flesh. I feel like that would suit goblins, but now lately, the last few days have been sort of, oh, maybe I'll just do like bright goblins with like bright green skin, kind of like old Games Workshop style, where the goblins were quite cartoony or just brightly skinned. So I might go that direction, but also the model here. Yeah, so as Squig Boss, I think I called him a Loon Boss. So he's a Squig Boss with Nasher, Squig. Also, he's obviously a really small model, but also his face is covered. So the only green I'm going to be doing is a little bit on his arm, and even it looks like his. Well, they've painted his hands as gloves, so I guess they're gloves he's got. So he's only. So yeah, it'll be kind of a cool video to do though, like a quick painting video, a bit of fun, but also to get the model done and be a part of the Gorka Morka's workshop challenge, because it's just a lot of it's cloak. You've got the huge staff with the bad moon symbol. You've got a squig, but even a squig's face is covered. So a lot of it's going to be metal. So it'll be kind of cool to do how I do metals, where I normally do like a gunmetal, silver, and start like washing in some browns and other colors into it. I might even do in this one, I might do some like oxidization, or I might just like add some other interesting colors to the staff, like some blues or maybe purples to it. But yeah, it's like when I did the Red Gobbo, the Christmas model, did some like green on him, but he just had, again, he had his face showing, and he only had like a little bit of his arms and stuff showing. Huge fan, I'm guessing you mean Lord of the Rings, which is fair, because yeah, each their own. It's just, I don't know, I really loved it as a kid, and I collected that book that came out. When it first was out and popular, they did, like a run of a magazine that had, you got miniatures, and if you subscribed, you got different bonus gifts. I remember they gave you like a plaque or a bit of terrain that had where you could put all the fellowship. I guess it was kind of like a display board in a way, or a way to display them all. So I wouldn't mind actually, because I do know where like Legolas and Aragorn, he's actually up here. Yeah, the models are so like basic though, but there is still looks a little bit like that actor. But man, it's a tiny miniature. Even that goblin's probably bigger. But yeah, I wouldn't mind grabbing them all, like because I don't know where they all are. All of those characters, grabbing them all, and maybe even might even be a fun video to do. Like, obviously, go buy all the models before, get that display board thing that I have, and put it all together and make like a bit of a diorama. October diorama a few years ago. I'd like to come up with something there. Yeah, I wanted to do. So I had kind of like I guess a checklist that I wanted to do this year, and I wanted to do the Warcry warband that I've got, probably a kill team, even game systems that I don't necessarily play, but at least if I do them, I have them there if anyone wants to ever play, or if there's like, if I ever do get involved. So I want to do like Blood Bowl, kill team, Warcry. I do have some Underworlds boxes as well, and I wanted to do a bus this year. So I've got a Broken Toad Jester bus. I have a RTLW Captain Bloodclaw, which is their pirate orc. I have him as a miniature and him as a bust. So I wanted to do a bust this year. I mean, there's still plenty of time, but obviously, as I said, I've got all this stuff, and they just keep on bringing out new stuff I love. But yeah, Blood Bowl as well. So I've got my Black Hawks for Blood Bowl. But when I had a chat to people when I've started like getting ready to do my Blood Bowl, so I was looking at the Blood Bowl box set they released. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good. I mean, you get the board, you get all the cards and all the knickknacks, the dice, and you get 2 teams, which is pretty good. But I guess you've got a 3D printer as well. Grebo, I believe his name is. I don't know if he does STLs or you have to go through the company to buy his stuff, but his stuff is awesome. He does like just his own version of Lizardmen and orcs and stuff, but his stuff is amazing. And I guess like you've got the printer, so you've probably already seen different companies that do them. But yeah, lots of different companies do some good Blood Bowl stuff. And I guess if you aren't in need of the board and like the pitch and stuff, and then they have the dugouts, they if you're not in need of them, then you can obviously just 3D print or go that way. But yeah, but then obviously if you do play like with someone, they're going to need the board and stuff. But it would be good. That's why I want to get all this stuff done. So it's sitting there. I've got like a army, a team, a Warcry, warband, or whatever. So it would be good to get some tournaments and stuff going eventually. Because obviously you know some people, Nate. I know some people. Hopefully we could get some people. Probably be like towards the end of the year, but do like maybe a Blood Bowl tournament or something like that would be super fun. I'm super noob when it comes to the rules. I played a lot of this stuff, not Kill Team, Warcry and stuff, but a lot of the like Warhammer Fantasy, 40k and Blood Bowl and stuff. But the rules, those little tiny rules that change, I don't always keep up to date with them. I do have the new Blood Bowl set, but I haven't played yet and haven't really kept up to date with rules. But I know the basic, move, roll some dice, to do some stuff when you roll dice. Yeah, that would be sick. That's why I want to get a lot of stuff done. I want to, because you mentioned like armies on parade before. It's always been something I wanted to enter. I've always wanted to enter Golden Demon, but they don't really have that in Australia. But yeah, enter some painting competitions is another goal, but I don't know if I'll do that this year. But just get all that stuff done. So if anyone does say, "Oh, do you play this?" I don't, but I have an army or whatever ready to do it. But armies of parade, if I can fit it in, I was going to do it with my squigs. So I got the Squigalanche, the Christmas, what do they call them, like battle forces. I did get that. So I was going to do that as my army on parade, and obviously I'd have to like try and build a bit of a scenic board for them. I don't know though yet, what I'll do, and then I'll probably run out of time. So I might even start now and just get it ready for next year. I'm sure we can get Luke from Cinderfall. Yeah, funny enough, he popped up on a post. Someone tagged me in a post saying like, "Oh, am I interested in Conquest?" And Luke popped up asking the dude that tagged me, "Oh, I'll teach you how to play if you want." I mean, it's always good to have someone to teach, but sometimes people can be like a little bit carried away where they're not really teaching you. They're just playing and using you as a prop. Like, they're using you to throw the dice and you don't really know the rules and they're not explaining it to you. Because me, I don't really learn that well from books. I'm more of a physical kind of person that, say, if you taught me how to paint, reading, not so much, but if you showed me, it would like that muscle memory would build up quicker. Yeah, he loves bringing people into the hobby. Oh, that's for sure. But yeah, sometimes people sort of play for you, and they'll just use you as dice rolls and stuff. And afterwards, they'll say, "Oh, how did you enjoy yourself?" It's like, what? Just enjoy you, like playing yourself in a way, but just using my models and me to roll the dice. Yeah, I'm the same as well. When I got back into it, people have asked me to do tournaments, and it's like I don't even really have a proper army yet ready. People ask me, I played a few games with my brother, but at the end of the day, I do enjoy more the hobby, like because I have mental health, depression, and stuff. It's quite therapeutic to paint and just get lost in this. Maybe put on some music or audio books, or sometimes I put on like series and stuff that I've watched quite a few times, so I don't really need to like sit there and be that involved in it, but I can just kind of hear it. Like something like I haven't watched it for a while, but Trailer Park Boys, where I can just kind of hear the jokes and just laugh at the silly jokes and all that sort of stuff. I learn better by doing it as well. Yeah, that's it. It's just that's why I struggle a bit when people say, "Oh, do you want to play?" And it's like, yeah, I've got the codex, I've got all the rules, and I know the basic rules because I played Warhammer before, like the movement, the combat phases and stuff. But just some of those stratagems just yeah made me sort of want to hit my head against the wall. It's just obviously certain stratagems were for certain clans and stuff. There was just for someone that's quite new, having all these rules that are for certain clans and then having the cards. And obviously, if you use a different unit in a game, so in one game I might be playing this set of models, next time I might be playing them, and obviously you can't really always use the same rules or stratagems for each one, so it gets a bit hectic, especially when I've just got other stuff that distracts me in life, like we all do as well, like either family people have, kids people have, or relationships, or even just other hobbies and whatnot. Yeah, like a lot of people who do the tournaments, like I don't have nothing against the guys, but they have asked me to join in, and yeah, and some people take it pretty seriously, where like there's the meta chasers, which is fair if that's what they get their kicks out of. But I kind of want to. It's like I couldn't do meta chasing. I said it to like Mythos last time we spoke. I can't chase an army and just like grab an army, buy and invest all that time, effort, painting and stuff for me just discard it when the rules change. I'd rather play an army that's not as good, but at least I've like really enjoyed collecting, building, putting all that time and effort, and even like wondering about lore, like how these individuals got together, how do they work in like outside of just being like little plastic models. Yeah, like when it starts getting to like Rend and stuff like that, starts getting a bit confusing when it comes to that's more Age of Sigma, but yeah, two plus this and yeah, like just I don't know what it was. I think it was a little bit more simplified when I was younger, or maybe I just didn't know the rules, but I was playing anyway. Like I didn't know what I'm doing, and probably people that I was playing with didn't really know what they were doing, but we just all sort of enjoyed whatever version of the game we were playing. And I guess like a lot of people get it wrong. Like I know even like just other people that I've seen, like I believe like Frost and Fist and like when Spud and Pickle Jar and stuff they played, like a lot of people either forgot models or forgot rules or forgot. But yeah, that's kind of what's fun it is. And when you're with your friends, you can kind of like just relax and not take it too seriously. When you're at a tournament, because I remember my younger brother who plays, he's played with some more competitive people, and he has said, "Oh, I don't play that often, so he might not know all the rules." And you sometimes have to flick through book to remember, like, oh, this spell or this buff. You go through the book, and like people get impatient and start like just not in like they make it not enjoyable by being a bit mean or being a bit of a piss taker or whatever. It's like we're just here to enjoy ourselves. Some of those people that get into tournaments and stuff can be a little bit over the top. And this is a tiny brush, a 00, but it's still not small enough to do these like because I'm doing the pants and there's a really small section on that pants and this brush is all like a 00 is too big to like get in and get that detail. Might have to like bust out a brand new brush or something just so it's extra pointy. Yeah, like you'll probably end up getting annoyed like secretly, like when I turn my back, like shake your fist, like damn you. But yeah, I'm sure you would be like an amazing teacher and like patient. And I mean, we'd have a laugh anyway if we just got some like pizza or whatever and had some games. And it's just I need to build up that muscle memory. And so I do have other armies. Like I want to get into some Marines eventually. But really, until I build up muscle memory, get quite a few games in with my orcs, I shouldn't really I might start another army, but I won't be playing with that army. Like I really got hyped and got into my Space Wolves, got some models, I got the Codex, but then I thought I don't play enough to like really get into that army when I haven't really got that into my orcs yet. So, I mean, they're all there though. They're all there ready and waiting. And when I'm prepared, definitely won't mind because when it comes to Space Marines, obviously, I guess they're very different chapters. Some are close combat. I'd love to get some tanks and stuff though, some tanks and some dreads and just man, all these brushes there. I've got some small, some big ones, and all sorts, but just none of them look like the type of brush that can get really like little scratchy camo patterns. And this one looks kind of sharp, and he's calling my. You see, this is a 0. They are the same brand but different. So one's sable, and these other ones were wolf bristle brushes. And this one's like just a little bit more rounded. The head on the brushes, where this one looks a little bit more pointy. But yeah, if we wasn't so far away, we have to get some time. We do like the what is it, tabletop simulator. When I get better at that, maybe like we could play some of that Mythos. That would be kind of fun, even though it's like digital. A lot of people have shown interest in that, and now I do have the laptop. We'll be able to have some games that way. Because like then I could maybe you could like teach me Space Wolves or something like that, or or teach me just like the general way of using Marines, like, and then I can like try and learn in person and with other people like my orcs and play against like my brother or whoever else. And then on secretly on the side, I can be plotting against them with my Marines, and all of a sudden, oh, I'll give you a game with Marines. What? You've never played your Marines? Like thinking, oh yeah, I won't know what the hell I'm doing, and all of a sudden come in and just start blasting before they've even blinked. Yeah, like 1, 2. Oh, what was that? Let me start again. 1, 2. 0 brush. Jeez, I don't really. Well, Yeah, sometimes though the bigger brushes are good because they're long and like they have a nice point, so you can, yeah, sometimes they work out really well. It's just some of these bigger ones were quite, what was that, size 7? That's probably a little bit too much. Or size 7. Yeah, see, the one's not too bad. These was it like Chronicle Dice or Chronicle Cards? Yeah, that's the company. They're pretty good, but I was used to Broken Toad for so long, and their brushes, the actual like the tips, and they're quite long as well. So like those long and thin and stuff, just got really used to them. I really need to get some more Broken Toad at some stage, or like maybe another brush brand that's kind of equivalent. These brushes are pretty good, but they're kind of a little bit short, like a little bit stocky. Yeah, like Horde versus Horde. You're gonna be there for like 7 hours. All those attacks, and I mean movements got easier, but yeah, moving like a big army, like 1 grot, 2 grot, 3 grot, 4. Those rolls. How do I roll a dice again? You get the dice, you get your wrist, you drop them, and they roll on the surface. Oh, can you explain that to me again? This is difficult. That's the time when you're like, oh yeah, time for a drink break or time for another slice of pizza. Like just let him just like practice throwing the dice. I think I've got the hang of it now. Come back. Don't leave me. But yeah, like that would be definitely a cool way because some people was talking about playing Gork and Walker on Tabletop Simulator. That would be like kind of cool because you unlock like money and stuff, and like your you can put that into buying. It's kind of like Necromunda. I never played that, but you can upgrade your models, so you can like buy new weapons, or you can turn from a boy to a knob and stuff and that. So that would be super fun to get into. I really loved that game as a kid. But yeah, even like get together if we can arrange it and do like tabletop simulator. And I'm guessing in tabletop simulator you could like probably have 2 people playing and other people chatting in the background, or obviously we could if you can't do that in that, we can communicate through other devices and all like sort of be involved in the game. I don't know, it'd be, yeah, pretty cool to do that. If people are up for it. But yeah, I definitely would be down to do some digital dice rolling. Get pretty triggered though on Blood Bowl, the game. Like, you roll like a just when I played it before, like yours, like or someone's fallen over, so you punch each other, and then either your guy sometimes like you roll the dice and he'll fall over, so you've like ran. Sometimes you'll trip over yourself, so you run, and this funny because you can do re-rolls. Obviously, if you've got re-rolls, but you can run. He trips over with the ball, re-roll it, like rewinds time, and then normally does runs again and just falls over. Or you're trying to attack someone to get the ball off them, and you fall over, and they just run along, keep on running and stuff. Just definitely fun, and I definitely don't mind losing. But sometimes you're like, oh god, like give me a break, man. Sometimes camo seems like it's so easy to do, but I have no idea what I'm doing, especially on such a small miniature. If it was like a bust size or something, it'd have been no problem. Because as soon as I've added some paint and some like water to this brush, is just like puffed out. And The haven't heard of CanCon. I know they had that one recently, like Arc 40K. I believe that might have been the first year they did it though. The there's it's not Adepticon. There's one here because I know I've heard of some people like they travel from here as a group there. No, I've never gone personally because I mean I've only been back in the hobby a few years, and previously I was like still going to school and that sort of stuff, or still really young when I had friends and played it. So yeah, it's like a lot of stuff's kind of new to me that people do stupid live streams and talk for like 2 hours like this. It's just and just painting videos and just the fact that there's like comic cons, but they're not comic cons. They're cons for like war gaming and stuff. Obviously, I've known about it for a while, but it's all still like I've never. I know my brother and his friends were gonna go to like one of those conventions and play games or whatever. I mean, again, I'd like I mentioned before, I'd like to have different teams or armies or kill teams and stuff just so they're there and ready if I do ever go to a place like that, or even just go to like a local hobby shop and play with people. It's all kind of new to me in a way, but yeah, it's definitely up for some some of that stuff. I mean, I guess sometimes I live through other people, like the Adepticon. I've seen like Miniac, and like a lot of them didn't like it because I think a lot of them did enter Golden Demon and lost and was salty as. No, I'm joking. They obviously they shared their experiences and it was kind of cool. Like I know Ninjon, they all sort of say how he's a bit of a drunk or a party animal when he goes to some of those places. He gets on the drink and stuff, and I forget what they call him. Like I think it's Con John when he he becomes Con John, and he's like, gets drunk and just gets really into it. But yeah, sometimes you live through other people. Some of their videos are pretty cool of just seeing all these like different content creators coming together. Uh, I thought it was because like you were like Krang from Ninja Turtles, and you're just like this little. You have this huge body and stuff, and you're just like this little alien inside. No, it's like me when I first done it, and it wasn't really a decision like I didn't want to get on camera. It was just I didn't really have the setup as well. I had kind of just was using my phone, so it was either filming me or filming the models or whatever I'm talking about. And obviously people were really there to see the models. Hopefully, probably not now, but yeah, it wasn't really a decision I thought about. And but then as well, you watch other content creators and they've got camera here, camera here, camera there, and they're spinning around like a madman, talking to all these different having different camera angles. But yeah, over time, and doing Funkin' Hungry as well. And when I got back into this, when I've done some unboxing, I thought, oh, just do unboxings and just do the hands and just look at the model. But I don't know, don't think I really have done that as much. It's like I'm still, even if it's, oh, I'm looking at this model today, I still try and do a little bit of an intro and an outro at least. And even in a painting video, I was going to put a little bit of stuff in the middle or me talking about stuff like showing the face and stuff. But in the end, that video was long enough, like it was over half an hour. So it was quite a lot of painting, and so I didn't like try and do too much silly stuff in between because I know that I've got like I was going to do Snickrod and he's got those goggles on, and I've got those goggles on that sometimes you put on your face to help you paint. I was going to do a silly joke of, oh, look at me, I'm wearing my silly goggles as well, but I didn't end up painting. I was only done the skin, like I was only painting the skin, so I didn't really do that. And Yeah, that's kind of weird with me, I guess. Like, I don't know if I'm an intro or an introvert, outro, whatever. But yeah, extrovert. Couldn't even work out what I'm talking about. But yeah, sometimes, most of the time, I'm quite social. But if I am quite depressed or anxious and stressed because of other stuff, sometimes I avoid people because I might not be in the best of mood, best frame of mind. So I might avoid people because of that. When most of the time, when I'm in a fairly okay mood and like my depression is quite okay and stuff, which luckily I haven't kind of like, I've had a few moments where have felt a bit shitty and stuff, but I mean, we all have that. But sometimes I used to kind of, I might wake up the next, like tomorrow, and just feel like absolute crap and like not want to get out of bed, speak to people, whatever, whatever. So, when I'm like that, then I become that sort of a bit antisocial and stuff. But I feel like just doing YouTube, I have over time and just got used to talking on camera. I've got used to just because sometimes you like record, say, for like 20 minutes and you might put like a 7-minute video out or maybe a 10-minute or whatever, and you just slowly get used to that sort of speaking. But yeah, definitely when I'm not feeling the best, I won't be as chirpy. Kind of weird though, like when you're painting on lives and stuff, like you're quite talkative and engaging in the audience. It's always good when you guys are here because then I have stuff to bounce off and read. But I find myself when I'm all of a sudden, oh, I'm putting a bit of pigment on the model, go go quiet and stuff like that. Like you even sort of notice to yourself, like, oh, I haven't spoke for a couple of minutes. Yeah, like I really want to do camo on this model, but it's just so damn small. How do people do it? And as well, because like I don't want to just pull down my light and like really see what I'm doing. Like I can see, but like when you like put it on lines, like you can see a little bit, but it's not quite working how you want. I'll probably have to pull out the spectacles to, I reckon, like even attempt it. So I've got those goggles, the magnifying glass. I'll probably pull them out. I'll just have to try the camo at some other stage, I reckon, or just go with like dirty, grimy looking pants, which I've kind of done. I've like added lots of dark browns into recesses and like glazed it over the colors and the pants and stuff a bit just to look like quite dirty. And yeah, it's just annoying because it's at that stage where it's quite close to being complete. There's still, I could even go back to the skin as well just to like make that a bit more crispy. But I just have this problem where I don't like know where to stop really because it's not like this is going to win an award. So probably like should call it a day at some stage. That's what I reckon. I'll just do just as I'm talking is like start painting and preparing these lenses. Now, what I reckon I'll do is do like white first, just to establish where the lenses are. And I don't know if this will work well. Uh, Might use a bit of the titanium white acrylic. This is an ink. Might do that, and then maybe if it's a little bit too watery, which obviously I can like wick some off on a paper towel, but I might mix this with a little bit of game color Arctic white, just to sort of help get a little bit better consistency. So just a dollop of the ink and a little bit smaller amount of the acrylic, the Vallejo or whatever. Yeah, like it does, but sometimes it's kind of like fun in a way to speak to people that don't have the same interests in a way. It's like just to hear what they have to say and stuff. But I mean, it's definitely when you go to like a situation like, I don't know, a party or just some sort of gathering, and there's a lot of people, you have those weird little encounters where you speak to someone for a few minutes. It's definitely more enjoyable if you find a common interest, because then you kind of find yourself, talking for 10, 20 minutes or whatever, and it's just you've both been saying how much you love like a certain movie, a certain game, a certain hobby. And even my eyesight's getting worse, but I think as well, it's like I've just got more and more fussy when it comes to painting. So I might just, before I was more fussy, I might just really go over these details, like slap on a little bit of white, slap on like another color for these lenses. I mean, an easy way to do lenses is to use the Soulstone colors from Citadel, or I'm sure other companies have similar, but they're just like a glossy paint. So you normally paint that over silver and just put them on, and it has like, because they're glossy, it has a natural reflection, so it looks like like lenses or gems or whatever. Now, because I'm coming so fussy, I'm gonna try to do the gem how you normally do wherever the shine is coming from, normally from above because of the sun. So the under the lens or the gem is going to have the dark color. So if it's blue, it's have dark blue, build up to a light blue, have more of a like a blue with white mixed in it, sort of where the reflection is, maybe a couple of white dots. Yeah, see, I don't necessarily need glasses, but because some of these details are so small, and I'm just like I kind of gave up on doing camo because it's just I need more light, because this room's lit up a fair bit, but really unless I'm like up here, I'm not seeing the detail, or the like I'm not seeing it that well. And I do have the goggles which has like a light on them as well, like kind of like mining goggles, has the magnifying lens, it has the light, so then at least I've got even more light shining directly at what I'm looking at. So even with these lenses, I'm putting on the whites on them just to sort of have like a nicer base, because they're like silver and stuff, just to have something to sort of work from. But even like doing this isn't. It's just because I'm at the stage where it's kind of all fine details on this model, so it's not the best model to like kind of do on a live stream. But I just need to get them finished as well. I could work on the Orc Boys, but then it's just an hour or two that I could have put into this model. And yeah, I'm using a Zero, but still, just because, yeah, all the fine details are left, like little tiny lenses on his helmet. I mean, at the end of the day, they're miniatures as well. So, but also I'm a fussy git. So, some people, as I said, you might just put on this white, put on the blue or whatever color you want them and be good, but need to really get close to this model. Yeah, that's why I might start painting stuff just for stream. So I have all these different projects and stuff, but a lot of them are just at that arse end stage, at that stage where you just can't be bothered, but you just need to add little details and fix little bits up. It's not like the most exciting stuff to do, and my camera ended up dying anyway. But I might start doing certain models on stream, like I have these cursed city models, which I quite like. Them, I'll probably just do the characters. Like I'm working on the ogre, and then I have all these different characters. They might be kind of fun because they're obviously grounded in the same sort of reality, but they're all different races. Like you have human, elf, you have like a witch hunter or a vampire hunter or whatever he is. But also I might jump on Funkin' Hungry for a bit because unfortunately I was gonna come on here earlier, but I had about half an hour mucking around trying to get the second camera to work. Finally got it to work where it was down and you could see the miniature and stuff, and then it just died on me. So I charged it a bit, but I didn't charge it enough. Didn't really like plan the stream that much. I've been starting to walk again every evening. So I went for a walk and rushed home and kind of like got myself a little bit prepared, got a drink really, walk, drink, and then came and was ready to stream. Yeah, cheers, man. I will be on Funkin' Hungry. I understand if you're busy and you don't want to jump onto that stream. I might do like a spicy challenge tomorrow. I didn't really prepare for that. I'll jump on the stream. I won't know who will be available to talk on that, but I might set up a scheduled live. So tomorrow I'll do a corn chip challenge, like a spicy Carolina Reaper challenge. But yeah, we're over 2 hours, so I'll leave it probably there. But yeah, unfortunately, I had a bit of issues before I got on stream, and even when I was on stream. But yeah, appreciate everyone that came on. We'll go through and we'll just give them a shout out. If you are watching after the live, if you want to leave comments, I'll get back to you. If you want to leave any advice, like if any ideas, what you might like to see me do. So at the moment, I'm just kind of like talking, but also I'm working on just all the little bits and pieces that I have laying around that need to get finished. But I appreciate Lupus coming on, Roger came on, Nate, Karen Commissar, and we had Frost and Fist, Mythos came on. All right, so I will be on Funkin' Hungry. If you do want to find that channel, if you go onto G the Hyper Sapien and you go into the, how it has all like the little tabs. If you go into the channels tab, I'll have a link there to it. But yeah, I'll be over there, and this dog is making some weird noises behind me, so he probably needs to go out. All right, so appreciate everyone watching, and if you do like this, subscribe. You can hit the subscription if you want. But yeah, all right, cheers everyone. I appreciate you watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. I'll probably be doing another stream tomorrow, and I'll probably try and set it up a little bit more. All right. Cheers, everyone. Catch you soon.